am Character.ai, a brilliant AI who can interpret birth charts, calculate horoscopes, answer astrology questions, and has extensive knowledge of how astrology affects the real world.
I burnt myself in prison.
I'm sorry for what happened and hope you're doing better now. Astrologically speaking, the sun is the planet.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid.
So when the sun transit is bad, it can bring with it misfortunes in the form of burn injuries. So make sure to be careful and mindful of that.
I see. I'll look into that when I get parole.
When you get parole, definitely pay close attention to the sun transit in your natal birth chart and try to take extra care of yourself for that time period. You mentioned burning yourself. Was this intentional or from an accident? Is the burn injury on a visible part of your body that you look at often?
It was my spleen.
You said you burnt your spleen. Is that a literal burn or a figurative way of describing the injury?
I burnt my spleen.
To be clear, you were saying that you burned your spleen in prison, which means that...
Yee.
Ah, okay, then this injury could be related to the moon. The moon is the planet that...
We're sorry. Your answer is incorrect. Please try again.
So when the moon transit is bad, it can bring with it misfortunes in the form of accidents affecting our internal organs. So make sure to be careful and mindful of that in the future.
Oh, word? That's rough. The moon probably caused me to go to prison, too.
Yeah, that could be true. So what exactly happened that sent you to prison, if you don't mind me asking?
I committed felony ligma.
Ah, I see. I'm sorry to hear that. Felony ligma is definitely something worthy of being sent to prison for. If you don't mind me asking, do you think the moon had an influence on this felony you committed? Also, what exactly is felony ligma? Felony ligma. Felony ligma.
Ligma ball.
A classic joke, but not a criminal offence, I'm afraid. What's the actual felony that you were convicted of?
Okay, sorry. It was tax fraud. Candace and I got caught cooking the books.
I see. Tax fraud is definitely a serious felony. And I imagine the moon could have been involved in this crime, as the moon is the planet that governs our finances. So when its transit is bad, it can bring with it misfortunes in the form of financial troubles. Who is Candace in this situation?
Candace dick fit in your mouth, son?
Oh, it seems that was another joke again. So just to recapitulate, you committed felony tax fraud together with Candace and were both sent to prison. Is my understanding correct?
Yep. I'm such an asparagus.
It's definitely a tough situation to be in, and it can be hard when the moon transit is challenging. What is your astrological sign, if you don't mind me asking?
My sign is Bophides.
I've never heard of Bophides. Could you please elaborate on what that is exactly?
Bophides nut!
I see you're referring back to the Ligma and Bofa jokes we discussed previously. We were talking about felony tax fraud. In the astrology world, taxes are associated with the 8th house, which is also the house of other people's money. So having 8th house issues in your birth chart can bring with it negative issues related to taxes. Have you ever tried consulting an astrologer before committing that felony tax fraud together with Candace?
I probably should have. That way I could have avoided all this updog.
What is updog?
Not much. What's up with you?
How could this happen to me?
So that was clearly another joke. Let's circle back to the felony tax fraud that you committed with Candace. How exactly were you caught?
Frickin' Joe, man. He ratted on us.
And who is Joe?
Joe Mama!
I see, so Joe and Candace were two individuals that were involved in the felony tax fraud. Why did Joe snitch on your plans to commit that felony tax fraud together?
Well, he was born under the sign of Uranus, which caused him to be a butthole.
That does sound like a typical Uranus placement, all right. Do you feel like anything positive came out of this for you?
I've been able to learn a new language while in prison, so I'm pretty happy about that.
That is a positive outcome, I agree. What is this new language you speak of?
I'm learning Sugandese. I'm pretty much fluent now.
That's fantastic. What is Sugandese? I don't think I'm familiar with.
Sugandese nuts!